Happy Monday, you guys. We are starting a little vlog today and I'm so excited because this week is gonna be a good week. I've been having a few rough weeks, but I have a lot of exciting things happening this week that are hopefully gonna make my life a lot better. And look, Mochi's here. Hi, Mochi. Number one thing I need to do is make this bed because it's a disaster, but we're gonna wash the bedding today. But first on the agenda is I need to go sign our notice to vacate form because it was due yesterday. And yesterday was Sunday and the office was closed and I did not think about that and pre-plan to do it on Saturday. So I'm gonna go downstairs and hopefully get that done now. I'm not sure, I think Oliver also needs to sign it. So I don't know, we're gonna see what they say when we go down there, but we're gonna go do that. And then we are going to come upstairs and plan out our week and see what's in store. So let's head down there really quick, get that done and out of the way, and then we will talk about what's in store for this week. Dude, why am I so emotional? So random. All right, I just filled out my notice to vacate form and then came back up and they said to email the assistant community manager to let her know, which I just did. And then she just responded and said, "We're sad to see you go, blah, 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 blah." And I don't know why that just made me cry, but I'm also on my period, so that's probably why. Moving just like really gets me, and we have lived here for almost 2 years now, which is the longest I've ever lived in one place since being home, obviously. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just feeling emotional about it, but we're excited to have a bigger space. I'm just like praying and hopeful we can find one and find the right place for us. So prayers up, fingers crossed that we do find the right place. But if not, we're just gonna look for 2 bedrooms here and move in the same building, and hopefully something aligns rent-wise here for us in terms of like timeline. So we might end up just being in this building, just in a different apartment, but hopefully we leave because I don't like any of the floor plans here for the 2 bedrooms. So now I want to plan out my week because this week is going to be a good one. And I know in my last video, I talked a lot about how I have really not been working that much and like I don't work full time. And I kind of just wanted to show an update of what my life looks like now because I've done kind of like week in my life videos before in the past while I was trying to build up my business and all of that, and things have changed a lot. So it's still very flexible, which is awesome. And I'm very grateful for that and tried to remind myself how lucky I am to be able to just like wake up whenever I want to wake up. And seeing my husband have to get up every morning does remind me. So poor him, he's at work right now, 8 to 5, usual timing, but he loves his job and the people there are amazing. So he's very lucky in that way too. But it's currently 10:52 and I have not started work. I'm always very slow on Mondays, which I, again, am super grateful that I can be because Mondays were always such a drag in my old job and I hated them. But yeah, so I thankfully am extremely flexible and I do work out and do aerial a lot during my week. And I also love to sleep in and actually prefer to do work at night sometimes. So I want to, number one, I made a list of things that I needed to get done on Friday because I was just feeling overwhelmed, and I usually use Notion to plan out my weeks, but when I get really overwhelmed, I find it a lot easier to just do a quick brain dump of things I need to get done, pen and paper, and then kind of work through those. So I made this for myself for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to get some stuff done, but the only issue is that I ended up getting my period on Saturday evening and I felt like so sick all weekend and my period was just like super painful. So I'm gonna run through this list really quick and just mark off the things that I did get done over the weekend because although I had really bad cramps and was not feeling well, I did actually get some stuff done on Saturday. So I'm gonna mark that off. And then I know one of the main things I didn't get done last week on Friday that I wanted to do was plan out this week because I try to do that on Fridays, but sometimes it just gets pushed to Monday. But I'm gonna do that, plan out my week, and honestly, I'm kind of just feeling pen and paper again, so I'm gonna write out a list for this week in my notebook here, and then I'll look at my Notion because I have some like automated tasks that I have fill out for me every day, and specifically on Mondays. And also it's April 15th, which like is like a big day for a lot of reasons, but mainly was this lease vacate form, which we got done. And then also I need to pay my quarterly taxes, which I'm pretty sure I already did, but I just want to be sure because they're due today. And I also need to make sure I paid monthly taxes for one of my clients. So I'm going to check on that if I did that for her. And then also I need to put money in my Roth IRA, which I also think I already did, but I just got a reminder on my computer again about it because it's due today for last year. So I just want to make sure I did that because we put a certain amount aside so that we could get the biggest tax break. And I just want to make sure it all went through. And I did indeed do that because my brain is just like a mess. Let's just do that and then we'll see where we're at. Okay, just got it done. I really didn't get that much done over the weekend like I thought I did, but that's okay. But today specifically, I have a task for a client I need to get done. I need to prep and do an interview for a client for a position that they're working to fill. And then I need to prep a blog post for another client, do maybe like 4 hours of coding work today, if possible, maybe only 3. I am like a few hours ahead already this week, so if I can just get a few hours done to make tomorrow easier for myself, that would be perfect. And then I need to clear my emails for 2 different clients' emails as well as my own personal email. And then I want to plan out the week, which I'm doing now. But not only is that work stuff, I have work, chores, and admin tasks. And then I also need to plan out my like appointments for the week, so like workout classes, as well as I want to go to the sauna this week, ideally, because I did start doing ClassPass again now, and I want to do that. Also set up a yoga class for this week, like a relaxing yoga class. And then I need to make sure I have my therapy scheduled, and then check if all my doctor's appointments that I have this week are all set and scheduled on my calendar. So that is what we need to do. And then for chores, I need to wash the bedding, put my laundry away that I did last night, make the bed, and then clean the cat fountain. And then for admin, I just need to call one of my doctors to request a super bill be sent over to me, which I already called and asked for it, but they didn't answer and I just left a voicemail and they didn't ever call me back or anything. So I'm gonna call again and see if I can get someone on the phone. So those are the plans for today. Other things I really want to do this week, besides just getting all my client work done, is I really need to, number one, set up tasks for Cindy to work on, because I know I have stuff that she can help me with. I just need to like schedule time to sit down and like look at what needs to be done in the next few weeks and then send her an email with all the things to be done. And then I also need to work on my business launch, because I've been putting that off for far too long and that just needs to happen. So I need to get that set up as well. But, and this is why I get nothing done being home, but I'm grateful, is I'm hungry now. So we're gonna go make food. And while I make food, I'm gonna tell you guys about what I've been doing in terms of my eating and things I've been discovering about myself, because it's been very eye-opening and interesting. I'm going to have some leftover breakfast potatoes I made. I'm gonna have some eggs. I'm going to have a chickpea blueberry waffle. And I'm going to have some of these chicken sausages, which are so good. They were on sale and holy crap, they're amazing. So let's get this going, and then I'll talk about why I'm eating a chickpea waffle and what this all means. So one of my friends from Ariel has a garden. She actually has a YouTube channel too. I will link it down below. Her stuff's amazing. Also, I think there's oil on my camera lens, but oh well. And she gave me a ton of tomatoes because she had so many. So right now I'm using like these little baby ones. I forget what they're called. I'm gonna call them cherry tomatoes, but I don't think that's what they're called. I think they were a different type of tomato. And then she gave me a ton of Roma tomatoes, which I will use maybe to make like a sauce or something later today or tomorrow. I'm not sure what I have leftover wise, so either tonight or tomorrow I will make a sauce out of that, which will be so good. And then she also gave me these heirlooms, which I have not decided what to do with those yet. So she said those ones need to like ripen up until they're like more red, so I have some time to figure it out. But in the meantime, we were gonna eat these little baby ones with some eggs, which is so good. So our breakfast is almost ready to go. Okay, so we have our sausages and our potatoes, we have our fried eggs with our tomatoes, and then we have our waffle with some freeze-dried berries on top. We're just gonna put a little drizzle of honey on this, and we're gonna eat this up. But why I am eating chickpea waffles So ever since my cyst issue, if you've been around since last summer, I had an ovarian cyst rupture on me twice. I feel like I've said that phrase 30,000 times. I say twice because it literally lasted like 2 weeks long, because it ruptured once, was healing, then ruptured again 2 weeks later, and then took forever to heal, or a week later, then took forever to heal. And ever since then, I've been struggling to just get back to my normal. I feel like I have never fully recovered. I've had like ups and downs, times where I feel good, times where I feel bad. So I finally decided like I couldn't take this anymore. And first step is I decided to do Whole30 to see if maybe something I was eating was causing all of these like fatigue issues I was having, and bloating and pain and all the things. So I did that and I felt drastically better on Whole30. Like I can't even explain how different I felt. I felt so much better. And if you don't know Whole30, you basically eat a specific diet that does not include any of the most highly allergen specified foods. I don't know how to say that phrase, but the foods that most people are allergic to, you cut all of those out for 30 days. Then you introduce them slowly one by one to see how your body reacts. So I did that, and I noticed some very specific things caused very bad reactions for me, like corn as well as maple syrup caused very bad reactions. And then when I had dairy and gluten, overall felt not well. I didn't have like an allergic reaction the same way I felt like I had with the maple syrup and the corn, but the dairy and the gluten just made me feel really bad. So ever since then, I have been also going to a bunch of doctors trying to figure out what's up with me, and I've gotten a ton of blood work done. And I finally found a great doctor who has listened to me and actually taken me seriously. Got a bunch of new blood work done with her because she decided to test for a bunch of different things. And finally, things are showing up as off, which means that we're actually getting to the root cause of this issue here. So I'm super relieved, and I have my follow-up with her on Wednesday for my lab results, so I'm gonna get some answers. But I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to self-diagnose based off of my results, but looking at them, it's already pretty clear to me what the issue is. But with that, the diet piece actually makes a lot of sense. So everything is kind of coming together and making sense. And she did tell me, because she suspected the same thing that now my results are looking like it's showing, that I keep gluten and dairy out of my diet because that has been shown to cause issues with this specific thing. So we're keeping dairy and gluten out. So I'm now eating dairy-free, gluten-free, which has been a pain in the butt. But I'm just happy to be feeling better, so I really don't care. Whatever it takes, I will do to feel better. With that being said, since I've been doing this and feeling better, that is what led me to want to get more into my work. I was purposely taking a pretty good break in terms of not working full time for so long because of my health problems and because of how I was feeling. Those are so good. Hi, I'm eating my lunch, but I wanted to answer you. Of course.
Give you like a down low. It's just it's meant to be. You guys
That's
are meant to
awesome.
connect.
Thanks so much.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye. If you watched my last video, this is why you do anything and everything for people, because you get these amazing connections. Lindsay is someone is in a completely different state who I never would cross paths with if it wasn't for this client of mine that is referring me to, I guess, connect with her to maybe partner together. I don't really know. I leave everything just like open. Let's have a discussion. Let's talk about it. Let's see how I can help. So we will go from there and see. Okay, I know it's like literally about to be 80 degrees outside, but I'm really cold, and I think it's because we had no AC all weekend, or actually from Wednesday to Sunday we had no AC and didn't even realize that. I'm now much more used to it being warm in here, and I'm like chilly. So we're gonna grab a cardigan, which I can't decide what I want to wear. I kind of just want to wear a sweatshirt. I'm just gonna put on a sweatshirt. I got this on my friend Kaylee's bachelorette trip in Cocoa Beach. They are all from New Jersey and they came down here, which was awesome. And I'm like obsessed with this sweatshirt. It was really ridiculously overpriced though. Like no joke, like $80. Probably because it was Ron John's, which is already expensive. And then you add in a Ron John. I always say Ron John's, but it's technically just Ron John, I think. And then I got the Billabong one, so way too much. My camera's about to die. Let me switch the battery and then we will come back because I want to talk to you guys about making money and prioritizing your time and why I'm okay with not working full time. All right, I'm definitely doing something right because I went to go grab the battery in the battery charger to like switch it for this one. And right as I walked up and went to go grab it, it turned green, which means it's like fully charged. So I'm just like right on point today apparently, but I'm gonna make a coffee. Like I said, decaf coffee. If you are someone who is bothered by caffeine like me and you can't have more than 1 cup a day or even any coffee, because I'm actually soon gonna transition to only decaf. This is the only decaf coffee beans I have literally ever had that does actually taste like regular coffee. So if you've tried decaf coffee and you're like, this tastes disturbing, you need to try this one. It's the Counterculture Slow Motion Decaf Coffee. Is it ridiculously overpriced? Yes, it most definitely is. Is it delicious? Yes. So I like to just currently use it as, again, my decaf for my second cup, and I only have a second cup of coffee like every few days. So this bag will last me a while, which is kind of how I allow myself to have it, because I find that if I don't do this, I end up wanting to like buy out a decaf coffee, like even just once a week. If I buy 1 decaf coffee out once a week, that is already more than using this like 3 times a week for the same month. So this is worth it, maybe even more. I haven't used the whole bag of this, so I actually don't know how many cups of coffee I'm gonna get out of it. I'd have to like measure it out, but I think it's worth it for like a second cup. And it's a fun ritual because it is whole beans, so I get to use my old ritual of hand grinding my beans. Let's talk money. I'm gonna do a budget update video in the next few weeks or so, but in the meantime, I wanted to talk about this idea of making money and being okay with not making enough money and being negative for a month, dipping into your savings, as well as how I think about money and motivate myself when it comes to working, when I work for myself and I am flexible. Because something that I have had to work on a lot in therapy, and that my therapist always reminds me, which I'm so grateful for her, is that I did not quit my job to just give myself another corporate stressful job. And freedom is something that I really wanted. Freedom and peace, safety, security are all extremely important to me, flexibility. And so as much as it can be tempting when you work for yourself to want to grind really hard and make as much money as you can, there are periods in your life when it is okay to not grind. And even if that's that you never grind, that is okay too. I've seen comments on some of my old videos saying that, oh, like your job wasn't the issue, it was you, like you just don't have discipline, you're lazy, blah, 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 blah. And sure, those could be true statements. Maybe I do lack discipline or did lack discipline at the time. Maybe the issue was me and not my job. But the thing is, none of it is even an issue or a problem. I don't have to be disciplined. That is not a requirement to live this life. You can live your life without being disciplined. And also, I'm definitely disciplined. Like I've done a lot of things that required a lot of discipline. So they just don't know what they're talking about anyways. But even if I wasn't, or if I have periods in my life where I'm not disciplined, because I do, I'm not disciplined every single day of my life, that is not a negative. There's nothing wrong with that. If someone tells you there's something wrong with that, then maybe that's something that they believe, but that does not have to be your value in your life. So I personally am not going to value discipline every single second and day of my life. That is not something I stand behind. And I hope I never get back into that mindset, feeling like that's what I need to do to be happy, because I was not happy doing it. So with that being said, I do not always work full time. Some weeks are busier than others. I had long periods of time where I was working more than I used to work at my corporate job. But now that I have raised my rates, I have tripled my rates since when I first started freelancing. I have given myself flexibility and some leeway when it comes to working, because also another huge thing is that I eventually want to be able to be a stay-at-home mom and work part-time anyways. So yes, I want to work some more so we can build up savings and prepare for that time in our life, but also I have been dealing with a lot of health struggles and a lot of issues over the past year, and it's okay. We're fine. We're gonna live. Everyone's gonna be fine. So remind yourself that. Number one, that's my little pep talk before we get into this. But in terms of just budget in general, what I like to do, and I'm pulling out my budget over here just so I can look at it. We're not gonna like look at the numbers crazy today, but you need to have in your head what your living number is. What is the number of money that you need each month to just stay alive? So I'm not talking about the number you need to have workout classes incorporated into your budget, or be able to buy clothes or get coffee out or eat out ever at all, to shop at Whole Foods. Like, I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about your bare minimum number. What is the number in your budget that requires you to pay any current obligations? We do not need to be paying over $2,000 a month for rent, but currently that is our obligation because we are in a lease. So those numbers, yes, like obviously we could get less, or we could go move back in with family. I'm not talking about that number. I'm talking about add together all of your current requirements, your current obligations, so lease, car payment, loan payments, anything that you have to pay monthly so that you don't get fees added on, you don't have interest accumulating extra, any of those numbers, add them all together. Then I want you to look at your, again, required expenses. So I separate my budget out. I don't remember if last time I showed my budget I was doing this, but I have it in different categories that are based off of purpose. So I have investments, I have expansion, I have relaxation, I have debt payments, then I have immediate obligations. That is my number of my immediate obligations. Then I have true expenses. True expenses are all required expenses to an extent. So yes, I could look at the number of all of my true expenses, and I could say that plus my immediate obligations, plus my debt payments, because student loans are currently required now. That is how much money we need every month to be able to just break even, get by without any extra luxuries. So I could do that. But the thing is, I shop at Whole Foods sometimes. I buy too much food out occasionally. Actually, my dining out isn't even in this category because that's how much I don't view it as any type of true or required expense. Pet supplies, I don't buy the cheapest cat food. So you can take your true expenses number and you can probably scale it back depending on your own spending and what you know that you're purchasing. So that is what I like to do, is add those numbers together. And that is the number that I consider in my head of, we have to make this much money each month. Otherwise we're gonna be like, we're not doing well. So like, that is my required number. So if I add all those numbers up for us, and I'm also including in their taxes, so that's something I didn't mention. I have taxes in like a separate category, but taxes obviously are required. Make sure you're saving and paying your quarterly taxes. So all of that together, our average spending is $5,500 a month. And that is me not scaling down the true expenses category, because right now we are not in a place where I am worried about making less than that. Like, that is my minimum. Whenever I quit my job, I scaled all of that back, and I was saying that our minimum amount was much smaller, and I was trying to spend less in that category anyways. So it depends where you're at, whether you want to like scale that back, try to decrease that number or not. But I consider $5,500 our amount. So that is how much we need to be making every single month to be able to handle our required for living expenses. And that is for me and my husband together, with 2 cats included. So bear that in mind. So with that being said, what I can consider each month is, first of all, I take out the amount that my husband makes each month, because he is working a full-time job. His amount does not fluctuate. Well, it fluctuates very slightly, so I just consider the average for the year. So he on average each month makes about $2,500. So what does that mean? That means that I need to make $3,000 a month. In my head, if I say $3,000 a month, I consider each month to have 20 working days. So 3,000 divided by 20, I need to just make $150 a day, Monday through Friday. If I can make $150 a day, then we are at least paying for our required expenses. So that though is how we end up dipping into savings, because I am participating in luxury activities that are outside of those expenses. So on average, we are spending more than $5,500 a month. That is just the required amount for if I needed to cut everything back. So why do I look at that number? Because I just need the number that I know has to happen. That is the number that has to happen, because if for some reason half of my clients drop me, then I know I can cancel every other expense that I did not include in this $5,500. I can cancel all my workout classes. I can stop eating out completely. I can stop shopping at Whole Foods and only go to Walmart and Aldi. I can cut back so much that we can get down to the $5,500 a month very, very quickly. And we have a good amount of money saved up in cash. Well, we did. Now we have 5,000, so we don't really have that much, but we have basically 1 month right now of that required amount if me and my husband stopped both working all together at the exact same time, which is not going to happen. But in case it did, we're good for 30 days. So, you know, that being, and we also have a ton of money invested that we could utilize if we needed to. So I'm digressing. Point being, that is our number. 150 a day is how much we need to make at a bare minimum. So 150 a day for me is fairly simple depending on the client I'm working with. I have clients that range from, currently with my rates, $45 to $60 an hour. So depending on the client, depends on how much I need to work, but we'll just say 50 as an average. I need to work 3 hours a day. Like, that's nothing, right? So that's why I say I work 20 to 25 hours a week. 20 to 25 hours a week at an average of 50 a day or 50 an hour means I'm making about $4,500 a month. So that is the average that I'm making each month, which is above the amount I needed to make, which was $3,000. So that's how I look at it. That is how I feel sane in the months that we actually go negative or spend more than we make, because I know that I can cut everything off if I needed to, all the excess spending, it can all be turned off and we would not be going negative anymore. So when I do go negative, that motivates me a little bit the next month to just like work a little bit harder, make a little bit more, cut back on spending a little bit, and I go from there. So the main key factor here that I think is really important is to actually budget. If you're not budgeting, you're not gonna be able to see this on a monthly basis. You're not gonna be able to review it. You're gonna have no clue what you're spending, or you're just gonna have this general large number. So if you are not budgeting, I highly recommend starting a budget like ASAP. I use YNAB. Yes, it is paid. Yes, it's like $100 a year, but to me, it pays me back times 10. Like, I save so much money by using this, and I have saved so much money over the years. I think it's 1,000% worth it. That's how I like to do it. Highly recommend it. I always have a referral link in the description. It does give me, I think, 1 month free if you sign up paid, and I think you also get 1 month free, full transparency, but I've been using it since, I think, high school. Anyways, that is how I stay sane. That being said, right now, with us deciding to move, we're talking about upping this average required spending per month by quite a bit, because rental prices have gone up a lot, and we really want to live in a larger space, which means if we're gonna live in a larger space, that means we have to spend more money. So I am planning on starting to work some more. I also recently had upped my rates for 2 of my main clients to $50 an hour. They were still at 40. So I did recently up those rates, which has increased my monthly income by quite a lot, because I did a lot of work for those 2 clients. So that's been super helpful. So that's also something to consider if you're a freelancer, is do you have any clients that you've not raised your rates with them yet, and you have raised your rates with new clients? Maybe start a dialogue discussing that. So yeah, just have some reasoning behind why you're doing it, explain it, and it'll be fine. It's a part of the game, honestly. So yeah, that's the whole budget thing I wanted to talk about. I will do a full deep dive into our budget. We did just file our taxes like last month, so I do have like all my final numbers for the year last year. Last year was my first full year working for myself and actually making good money. Technically it was my second full year, but the first one was like I was still doing Rover and stuff. Last year was like full year, all freelance, all working for myself. So it's very, very interesting to see those numbers and see how things have changed. So yeah. Touch base with my client to give her my thoughts, and then we scheduled a follow-up, etc., etc. So I am now meeting with her on Wednesday to touch base on everything. I need to put together an offer letter because we are going to move forward with this candidate. So I also need to put together an offer letter, which I realized I didn't even write down that was the next step. So I need to make a note for myself that that is what I need to do next. So let me add that to my Notion. It's 4 o'clock now. I need to switch my laundry, put away the clothes that are in the dryer right now, and I just called one of my doctor's offices because I'm trying to get my records sent over there because I have an appointment on Wednesday and they needed all my lab results and they didn't have them for some reason. So I just emailed it to them. So hoping they got that. Still need to call my other doctor about getting a bill sorted out. So I should probably also do that. And I just am really hungry. Now Mochi's here. Hi, Momo. I'm usually not a snacker, but I bought a bunch of snacks on the wedding trip because I was trying to eat like vegan and gluten-free, well, dairy-free and gluten-free things. And they were buying like a bunch of snacks for the day we got ready. So I bought like multiple things for me and just brought them home. These are pretty good.
Thank you for calling CFP Physicians Group. Para español, presione 9.
Hey, give me one moment.
Sure, thank you. For some reason, get so tired every day at 4 p.m. lately. This was not happening just a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and now it just feels inevitable. So I've been taking a break since I called my doctor, and I do still want to do a few more things. I didn't even do any coding today, which sucks. So I'm probably gonna rework my schedule for the next few days. I did get like some new meetings scheduled this week, so I'm gonna just like look over everything. Maybe do just like a little bit of coding so I'm started so that tomorrow morning it's like less resistance. I find that if I've had like an outline going for coding or just like I've started it, it's just a lot easier. So maybe I'll just like do 30 minutes even or something.